What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports here on the Alabama channel at the voice of college football. This is going to be our early look at Alabama heading into 2022 and whether or not this team will be better or worse than they were in 2021. A team that, of course, had a great season, won the SEC championship, had the one loss during the regular season, made it all the way to the national championship before coming up just short against Georgia in that game. Alabama was one of the easiest teams to predict when we were in the preseason of 2021. We did say that this team would be worse than the 2020 team. But even if they had won the national championship this past season, you would still say that the 2021 team was worse than the 2020 team because that 2020 team was just so good. That was one of the best teams in the history of college football. Might be, I know that's a debate, but it might have been the best team in the history of college football. So yeah, you look back to the preseason last year, we said this team would be worse. That was a pretty easy answer. They did finish with 2 losses, of course, and even if they hadn't lost those games, they still, they had a lot of close games, which is something they did not have in 2020. So we fast forward to the preseason for 2022. Will this team be better or worse? Will they finish with a better record than 13-2 or worse record? Will they finish first in the SEC West again, be even better, or will they be worse in that division? When you look at the roster here for Alabama, of course, Bryce Young coming back, that's the first thing that jumps out at you. The Heisman Trophy winner, the starting quarterback, such a huge get. But I'm going to argue that the best player in college football last season was not Bryce Young, but he did play for Alabama, and that's Will Anderson, and he's back as well. So they bring back their star on offense, their star on defense. That's a good place to start. What will the running back situation look like? Of course, Brian Robinson gone. Kamar Wheaton transferred. He had a lot of hype, of course. 5-star guy coming in. Trey Sanders, I guess, is probably in line to be the starter. Will be interesting to see that. The wide receiver position, probably the biggest question mark for them with Mechie gone, Slade Bolden gone, Jamison Williams gone as well. But the good news is you bring in Jermaine Burton from Georgia, a guy that I think can go from being a good receiver to being a great receiver to being a superstar here at Alabama, similar to what Jamison Williams did. I believe he's got all the tools to be really good, really special for them. But they're going to have to lean on some of these younger players to step up, some of these younger wide receivers, looking at a JoJo Earl, Ja'Cory Brooks, G. Hall. I mean, some of these guys are going to have to step up. That's going to be the biggest question, I think, for Alabama. We know they have talent at wide receiver, but which guys are going to kind of emerge there? They will have to have some help for Bryce Young, of course, and then Cameron Latou back at tight end. He's going to be a big weapon for them as well in the offensive line. So circle back to the offense. Are they going to be better on offense? It's hard to say. I mean, losing these 2 weapons at wide receiver, I don't know that Alabama's going to be better, but I think that they'll be just as good on offense. Offensive line, they do lose Evan Neal. That's a big loss, big-time player there. Chris Owens gone as well, but you look at some of these young guys who have stepped up for them. I think they're going to be okay up front. So, again, the offensive line for Alabama should be, or the offense overall for Alabama should be, I think, as good as it was last season. And we didn't even mention Gibbs coming in from Georgia Tech, a running back who I said that Trey Sanders probably going to be the starter. As far as the guys coming back, yeah, but we're talking about Jahmyr Gibbs, a player that has a chance to be a Heisman candidate, an All-American type player. He's really, really good. He's just been at Georgia Tech. So that's going to give you a boost in the run game. So the run game should be better for Alabama. The passing game, that's where you do have some question marks. Going to the defensive side of the ball, this team, I think, is going to be really, really solid there. Defensive line should be strong for them. But when I look at these linebackers, I mean, they have got a lot of depth, a lot of talent. Will Anderson, it all starts with him, of course, but Henry To'oTo'o, he's back as well. Kind of surprised some people coming back. He has a chance to be a first-team All-American type guy. Yeah, they lost a couple of guys in the transfer portal, but I think the linebackers for Alabama might be the best in the country this year. So much talent for them coming back. Again, it all starts with Will Anderson. And then the secondary, you lose Josh Jobe, you lose Jalen Armour-Davis, but you bring in Eli Ricks from LSU, a guy who was, I think he was an All-American as a freshman. A very talented player, had some injuries last year, but he's going to step in there and be that number one corner for them, in my opinion. And of course, Kool-Aid McKinstry in there as well. You got two really good cornerbacks. Safeties, most of them coming back as well. They do lose Jordan Battle, but Helms will be back. You've got some young guys that should be ready to go. Christian Story, Malachi Moore, very talented player, very versatile player in the secondary. So I think overall, when you look at this Alabama defense, yeah, they lose a few key pieces, but they bring back more than they lose. And I think this Alabama defense will be even better than it was last season. So when you talk about a defense that's going to be, I think, even better, you talk about a run game that should be even better. You ask some questions in the passing game, but overall, I think this Alabama team should be better in 2022. So yes, we did say they were going to be worse last season. That turned out to be true. We'll find out if we're right again. But yes, I do believe that Alabama will be even better this upcoming 2022 season.